Hitbox and how it has impacted the FGC. Most people call it cheat box. For those who don't know, Hitbox is actually a all button controller which allows for precise inputs. On a fight stick you get the joystick, on a pad you get the D-pad, which you got to use with your thumb. The Hitbox itself, it actually comes with a bunch of shortcuts that allow for much easier execution that can be done on pad and it can be done on fight stick, but it's easier on Hitbox. Hitbox actually has an official website that gives you beginner guides, things to take into consideration if you're a first user of the Hitbox. Dragon Punch, Shoryuken, you have the standard input, then you start having the walking DP input, crouching input, where you actually hold forward and down and then you just tap forward and you get a DP. Several different shortcut methods. It's all about which one is actually easier for you. This one right here, which is actually the fastest one, the instant Dragon Punch shortcut, which is actually said to be 3-frame Dragon Punch, where you actually do forward, down, forward, and you SOCD with down and up, and you hit up and punch at the same time. A lot of ways to execute different methods, but I think the one that put Twitter and all social media platforms into an uproar is actually this tech right here. God Super Divine Hurricane, 3 frames, 0 SOCD. This, I feel, is what put every social media platform into an uproar, where people start calling it a cheat box, have it, you're cheating, people feel like it should be banned, so on and so on. I must say, I can't necessarily do this, but this is interesting. I don't really like to call something cheating because I feel like if it's able to be done on Hitbox, you should be able to do it on fight stick and pad, but like I said in the beginning, it's probably easier on Hitbox. That's kind of like the gist of the intro for the video. I really wanted to talk about my experience with it and how Hitbox has actually been around for decades, and it's actually crazy how as of late it's been coming into daily conversation. I've had a Hitbox sitting in the closet for like years. I didn't continue on with it because I couldn't get past the fact of using all my fingers to actually maneuver around a fighting game when I'm used to a pad, where I'm just used to just using my thumb, doing it like that. Of course, we have Daigo, we have Kawano, who recently won Evo with it. They're all Hitbox users, and I feel like once Japan kind of put it on the scene, people just started putting their inputs on it, like, yeah, this, that, woo-de-woo, wop, wop, whoop, bop, dibbity-bop, loobity-bop. For those who like to call it a cheat box, I feel like those are the people who probably kind of like looking at it outside and maybe didn't get an actual view on it just yet. Because it's obvious you can't just pick this Hitbox up and just do all of the quote-unquote cheating things with it. Alright, so if you're coming from pad like me, you're gonna probably have issues with your ring finger. You might have issues with player 2 side. You have to give it at least a 3-month threshold before you actually start getting comfortable with it. I had to go back to the basics. I had to go back to just going on player 1 side, doing fireballs, doing charge motions, doing DPs, doing everything. Same thing on player 2 side. I had to rinse and repeat like I just bought Street Fighter for the very first time. It wasn't a pick up and go, oh, this thing is cheating. Absolutely not. But I will say, once I started to get the hang of it, because I have been playing with it for about a good month and some days now. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're enjoying this video, but there was one part I forgot to mention about Hitbox before I got done recording this video. So I did a clip on Tekken 7 where I did a good amount of electric wind god fist in a row, and of course this can be tricky depending on if you're playing on pad or maybe stick. You might find it kind of irritating, but check it out though. Let me move my camera real quick. So as you can see, I'm practicing electric wind god fist, and then boom, I just hit 5 electrics in a row, bruh. Hitbox is fair and honest. So for those who don't know, electric wind god fist is a move performed in Tekken where you have to just frame down forward and hitting the attack button at the same exact time to force the lightning to come around the character's hand, which makes the move go from -10 on block to +5 on block. So if you really want to play a Mishima, which is Jin, Kazuya, Heihachi, electric wind god fist is something that you want to really prioritize. So go ahead and put them back in the original video, my boy. charge characters feel amazing on it. The fact that I'm actually able to, I feel like the charge mechanic itself is so much faster. One, you're using all 3 fingers, right? So you got 1 finger on the forward, you got 1 finger on the down, you got 1 finger on the back. Not actually on there, but they're just laying rest. So with dash punch, for example, right? I'm holding down back, and then it's just a simple release of the down back and then tap forward. I mean, the same methods that work on Hitbox, it work on stick and pad. Brian F, and I think somebody else on Twitter made a video showcasing it, but it's easier done on Hitbox, that I will agree. Each finger is laying rest on each directional input, so when you hold down back to start initiating the charge, it's just a simple forward and then punch. And then as soon as I press that forward and that punch, I'm going right back to charge. So I feel like this is the easiest and quickest way to maximize charge. This is probably the quickest I have ever done straights. Same thing with micro walking, right? If I'm crouch blocking, just a simple tap forward and then still moving forward while blocking. I feel like Footsie's movement is overall better, able to flash kick while not letting go of guard, because down and up, the SOCD, the up takes priority. So since that's the case, as soon as you up and kick, your flash kick will actually come out while still holding down back. Guile benefits from it the most. For DP motion, I took a habit in actually just holding down and then tapping forward. Alright, so hopefully y'all can see my hands real quick, but I actually want to show y'all how I'm gonna hold down back and then I'm just gonna tap up. So as you can clearly see, right, with left and right, the SOCD will return it to neutral. But when you do down and up, like I said earlier, up takes priority. You're holding down back, and then when you hit up and kick, you still get the flash kick because up takes priority. Meaning you're able to block and flash kick at the same time. Guile benefits from this, well, like Muscle Hand said, any character with down up will benefit from this way more. So the reason why I rather use hold down and then double tap forward for the DP is that even if they cross you up, you can hit that same input and you will still get cross-cut DP. So normally, right, when somebody cross you up, you would have to do the DP in the opposite, well, you would have to half circle it basically to get the cross-cut, right? But with down and just double tapping forward, you can get that same motion. So that's basically the rundown on how Hitbox has greatly impacted the FGC. I feel like a lot of people call it a cheat box, but like I said, you're able to execute everything on Hitbox the same with pad and fight stick. I just feel like you have an easier time with Hitbox. So that could be some of the topic trend and what's going on, but it's definitely not a pick up and go. You have to put in the time, you have to practice with it, and it is definitely a dedication that you have to be willing to dedicate your time to. I wanted to go back to pass several times. The amount of losses that you're going to take is going to get aggravating. You might lose to players that you feel like you would have lost to if you would have went back home to what you're comfortable with. All these thoughts are going to roam your head, but as long as you stay dedicated, you should see results within a 3-month time period. Of course, everybody's different. Slowly getting more comfortable with it. I still got some errors to weave out. Overall, that's my input on Hitbox and how it has actually impacted the FGC. It's actually a good thing seeing everybody give it a try because it's been around for a long time. It's just kind of crazy how it took for Daigo and Kawano and mostly Japan using it to upstir this conversation on Hitbox. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and catch you guys in the next one. Do you think the Hitbox should be banned? Nah.